Oh, hi! Today I'm gonna add this beautiful Parisian lace that one of my very best friends got me when she is in France to the lining of this skirt. I got it at Goodwill because where else do I shop? And I very much like the idea of having like a nice bright solid color under another brightly colored lace. I really like the look of that because usually my instinct is just to have a more neutral black or something, but this over this, it isn't doing it for me as much. Normally I don't have my laptop open when I'm filming things, but the thing is, there are two layers here. I want to keep the outer layer intact for something else and just have the lining. The edge is serged and also top stitched down twice with a twin needle, and it's very like shreddy fabric. So it's going to take a while to seam rip because I want to save like every little bit I can and not tear up the actual elastic inside here because I want to use it. Therefore, while I seam rip, I'm gonna watch two of my favorite people in the world compete on the Great Food Truck Race. It is fucking crazy that my friends are on like network television. I'm so proud of them. They're such badasses. Very excited to see what they do on the show. Their team Baby Got Mac on season 10 of this show is going to be a good use of my time while I'm hanging out. If you want to, you should watch the show and support their team because who doesn't love mac and cheese? And also it's 90s themed and just they're really good people. I'm gonna seam rip this and then I'll meet you back after. Okay, I'm back. It took not only a very long time to get this skirt taken apart. It's just the thinnest, shreddiest fabric for both layers, and there were so many rounds of stitching. So many. There's top stitching, there was serging, and then there was another round of stitching just to keep the layers together in the first place. So it's a lot, although I think I'm going to follow all the same steps to reconstruct this. Also, it got really hot in the shop, so I left for like the warmest part of the day and it's cooling off now. So this is the outer layer. I'm probably going to use this for something at some point. Oh, and I got the elastic out. I can't handle how cool my friends are and how excited I am for them. And I fucking love their outfits. They're so good. You got, even just to like see what their whole theme is, I highly recommend checking out the show. I promise this isn't sponsored by any means, just trying to support good people doing cool shit. Okay, back to the actual thing I keep telling you I'm going to work on. I'm so spoiled that I got so much of this fabric and that my friend would think of me for something like she had to pack this into her suitcase to come back. The luckiest and most spoiled human being on the planet. I feel like I've done nothing at all today because I was doing a bunch of administrative shit. I want to be making at all times. So anything that's not me working on a project, I automatically get annoyed about. Okay, so for the actual construction of what we're going to be doing, I've been really eyeing this lace and it seems to have this like repeating bottom edge to it. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to try to see if like clipping this away and just having the scalloped edge will work. So that's how I'm going to tackle the bottom rather than doing a hem or something. But before I even get to that part, I know that this elastic is going to fit around my waist. Let's just double check because now would be the best time to take it in. This is all I do to measure elastic is like I'll have it's sitting unstretched around me and there's still some give. You want it to be stretched a little bit, but not so it's so uncomfortable. Rather than doing a number measurement, this is my preferred way, is you just hold it to where it's comfortable, but also like it's not gonna move anywhere. There we go. Just gonna cut off the excess. I'm gonna leave like a little bit of like a seam allowance there. You can lay this stuff flat and stitch that down. I think I'm gonna do that. So I just stitched it together like this, right sides together basically, and then just so it's not as bulky, I'll do a little straight stitch down each end just to tack the seam allowance down. And in addition to double checking the elastic fit, I am gonna check the length on the skirt, because I want to save as much of the lace as I can. Right now, if I wore it at my high waist, even, folding this whole chunk down for the top band, it's not too bad of a length. I think I'll keep that. I want the lace to go just a little bit past this, so I think this will be perfect. That'll be good. Everything will hit like just above my knee. Cool, cool. So the top is going to get gathered a little bit with the elastic. So like the resting size of this is wider than I measure, but yeah, it'll be cinched in with the elastic. So there's 2 layers of this. You're laying it as flat as you can. And I'm gonna cut it a little bit longer because again, I'm gonna trim all this back and I want the lining to like be above that line. And as far as cutting out, I'm just gonna eyeball it. Just follow the shape. It's gonna stretch here and there, so I'm not super worried. Very good framing on my part. Always getting my shoulder in the way. And you can see I did leave the lace a little bit wider just because I'm going to have to account for seam allowance, so that should make it about the same size. And it's okay if the lining is a little slimmer than your outer fabric. So I'm just going to stitch the side seams together on the lace. Okay, so I probably should have trimmed the very bottom edge before sewing the edges together, but it's gonna be close enough. I'm not super worried about it. Before I go any further, I am gonna do that part because it's gonna make lining up the lining that much easier. And I also want to sew the side seams down. I don't want to serge it just because it's gonna be see-through that way, but I want to like reinforce the seam. If I had perfectly matching thread, I would just serge it, but unfortunately I do not. So yeah, I'm just following the edge of where the netting ends along this like scalloped edge. It's see-through, so it's hard to show you what the fuck I'm doing. I got the thing together. I stitched the side seams down like I said. So this is showing the side stitching. I hear the white, but again, I don't have matching thread, but this seems fairly subtle. I don't hate it, but I did decide like this folded over hitting me just above the knee is going to be great. However, I do want this to be shorter. I really like the look of skirts with a lace overlay where there's like a pretty decent chunk of the lace hanging below where the lining is, and just I think is real cute. So all I'm going to do is cut off right along this stitching line. So it'll also keep it even. I don't need to like measure anything out. Yeah, I'm just going to cut off like where the old top band was. Okay, this is trimmed. Now I'm going to take my lace shell right sides out. Take my lining, which was pieced together right sides out. So just if you have to, you know, make your own lining and attach the side seams and stuff, you want the raw edges inside. Tube and a tube. If you're not reconstructing something like I am and just tracing around whatever and you just have the two side seams, you're basically quartering the outer layer and the lining so that they match up evenly when you go to stitch them together and add the elastic. Oh, I'm so into this color combination. It's very loud and I'm into it. I wonder if I should make some kind of tank top or something out of the original outer fabric. So you can add more clips or pins if you want. I'm just going to attach these layered together with the basting stitch, like the longest stitch you can set. Mine's a 4, just so it's less to futz with once I go to attach the elastic. Okay, yes, perfect, lovely. I do wish I had my serger out for parts of this. I've already gone this far without it, so it's going to be fine. This will be hidden on the inside anyway. I'm going to line up the edges and stitch along here, the inner edge of the elastic with a zigzag stitch. Stretch everything as you're going so it's all evenly spaced, and then we'll fold it over and then we'll stitch the outer edge. Hopefully that'll make sense. And for me, this is the easiest way to figure out where the elastic goes is I mark the 4 quarters of this. So like fold the elastic in half, put pins in those 2 ends, and then fold it the other way. Have these 2 pins meet each other, and then you know, one of these is the side seam or back seam. It's the seam. And then I just mark the midpoint of the other side. And I do that same thing for the top of the skirt. So then everything should, so you can see like this pin on the elastic is further in than this guy. So that's how far you gotta stretch it. Also, someone commented a couple weeks ago that they broke the elastic, or no, they broke the sewing needle when they were trying to sew with the elastic. And something you want to keep in mind, say here's the sewing needle and you have your elastic through it. You don't want to just be pulling against the needle. You want to have the needle here and have your back and front hand pulling against each other and kind of guiding the elastic through it. Because I've definitely broken needles doing that when you're like pulling as hard as you can and the needle like can't sustain the weight, like the pressure you're putting on it. So if you're pulling against your own hands, it alleviates the needle from doing any of that work on top of the sewing part. Just a little note, it was something I had never thought about. I learned at the costume shop, which has been very helpful. I saved a lot of needles' lives. As with so many things in my life, it seems so obvious once someone tells you about it. But up until that point, you're just like, why does this keep happening? Beauty of just trying things, even if you don't know, because then sometimes you'll learn it on your own too. See, it's stitched all along that edge, and now everything is going to get folded over. Yeah, basically going to be doing a top stitch. I wonder, I should probably use like the matching blue, like this color thread over it. That'll look better than the white. This will be the most exposed thread. I'll still just use a white bobbin. Weird how the top thread is important when you're top stitching. Same deal here. I'm just going to stretch it till everything's even, and I'm just gonna go by feel. Like the elastic is 1 inch wide, so I know like where the foot needs to be. So I'm going like 1/4 of an inch in from the edge of the elastic. So this edge needs to be 3/4 of an inch away from where the needle is going down. Joe Bauer, math expert. All right. I mean, the inside here looks kind of messy. Using a serger, if you have one, that's the best way to clean it up. You could fold it over again, but that's going to make it like too bulky for me. This is something I was making for my Etsy shop. I would 1000% be serging everything and take more care with that and like go buy matching thread, but it's just for little old me, so I'm not as concerned about it. The lining stops a good 2 inches or so before the bottom. Yeah, I'm gonna try it on and make sure I didn't completely fuck myself over by taking the waist in. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. This is a good like spring, fall, maybe more spring because of the colors skirt. That's not like way up here. I am wearing shorts, like full-on denim shorts under here, and it fits very comfortably with this shirt going on and everything too. And I'm just really into the color combination. Seafoam green is a tough thing to match sometimes, but it's so spoke to me. Like, I love this color, and I'm glad I found like a good blue to put under it. Oh, I'm so happy. I wonder if this is a good top to be wearing with it. Maybe a gray shirt would be the move. I think this was mildly less rambly and like maybe a little more straightforward than I feel like my stuff has been lately. I think it's good to have like a mix of the things. I don't want you guys to get bored with just my thoughts of the day. I also don't want to always just do straightforward tutorials. Hopefully you've learned something from this. I don't know. I'm trying to share my knowledge and also just like show you what I'm making. And I'm so pleased to finally have something with this lace that my friend got me. I love it. I get to like think of one of my best friends every time I have this on, you know? That kind of stuff means a lot. I need to go get some food in my tummy because this has been a very long day, even though most of that has not been spent in my shop, which is annoying because it's getting to that time of the year where it's too hot to work in here for like the whole day if it's nice out. And I feel so unproductive when I'm doing just administrative stuff. But that's part of it too. You have to like sort your receipts and make sure your health insurance is paid. Etsy listings are renewed and everything. So yeah, it's part of it. It's just the less fun part of it, so I hate it. Speaking of Etsy, I have an Etsy shop if you would like to check it out. I have a whole bunch of stuff. I'm actually like selling out of a bunch of things and it's freaking me out in like a really good way. I'm overwhelmed in the most positive sense of the word. So thank you to everyone that's been buying stuff. I think it's almost been exclusively viewers and friends. I guess viewer is an appropriate word if you're watching my stuff, but I know like we're chums, most of us. So yeah, I really appreciate it. And everyone over on my Patreon. I just got a new $1 patron in the past week or two. I do just as big of a happy dance when it's smaller tier or bigger tier. Like it all means so much to me. So thank you so much to everyone that's come over from there. You probably don't find my Patreon first and then work your way here, but I guess maybe there are search options on there. Maybe someone just like made a typo and accidentally found my shit on there. Yeah, I'm gonna go get the grill going because it is nice outside today, just not in here with all of these lights on when it's 80 degrees out. But don't you worry, peak sweaty summer Joe will be making appearances shortly. I am confident of that. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you on Saturday with another video. P.S. Don't forget to check out my friends on the Baby Got Mac food truck. They have an Instagram and shit. I'll link to them in the description because they're the nicest humans ever. Okay, bye. Granted, I've only technically hung out with Samuel once, but it was for 9 days straight.